turn on our microphones. Okay. Are we good? Okay. I'd like to call this meeting of the organizational meeting of the King George County School Board for January 4th, 2021 to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. First item on the agenda is the election of a chairperson, and I'd open the floor for nominations for chairperson.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Carrie Gonzalez for chairperson.
Ms. Tolliver has nominated Ms. Gonzalez.
I'd like to nominate T.C. Collins, Mr. Collins.
Ms. Pansera has nominated Mr. Collins.
How do we do that if it's on the 18th?
Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Ms. Hawk.
Mr. Collins has nominated Mrs. Hawk. Any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll close nominations by consensus, and we'll vote in order of nomination. So all those in favor of Ms. Gonzalez as chairperson, please say aye.
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 That's 3 ayes.
That's all you need.
That's it.
Okay. So Ms. Gonzalez then is the chairperson, given she has 3 votes recorded. So at this time, I'm happy to take the gavel to Ms. Gonzalez to conduct the rest of the meeting. I'll come to you.
Excuse me, Dr. Benson, can we have a motion? Motion to approve or a motion to appoint
We did.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Oh,
Kristen made a motion.
Is that considered a motion?
I think the vote itself is the action that was taken.
Okay.
We can certainly do that if you wanted to do that. I don't,
It was a vote was taken and it
Yeah.
was so recorded.
Okay.
So,
All right. Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I make a motion to adopt the Robert Rules of Order starting this evening, the most current version?
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
What was the motion?
The motion was to adopt Robert's Rules of Order for use by the board beginning this evening.
Okay, is there a discussion?
And now we're discussing.
I guess I'd like to ask for some understanding. Robert's Rules is a huge document. There are, what I have seen, there are compilations or shortened versions of it, or there's the entire document. And I don't know, can a board adopt a portion or an abridged version, I guess, as opposed to the entire document? Does anyone know?
Oh, Madam Chair, may I speak?
You may, Mr. Collins.
So the Robert's Rules of Order is a complete document that used to have orderly meetings and to have the flow of the meeting go along. The summary just summarizes the the entire document. So I don't think it would be in the best interest of the board to use summarized documents for the conduct of the meeting.
It's just a question.
Is there any further discussion? Ms. Pantier?
No comment.
Ms. Tolliver?
Any discussion you'd like to add, Ms. Tolliver?
I'd be a little concerned with the motion when we haven't had an opportunity to review Robert's rules and as just have said the many versions of it.
Did you hear that?
Can you repeat that, perhaps, Dr. Benson?
I'm paraphrasing for you, Ms. Tolliver, so correct me if I go wrong, but your concern was to adopt a document this quickly. Is that what you're saying, or?
Yes, to entertain a motion on something we haven't had an opportunity to review first.
Okay.
So you've had over 8 years to review Robert rules. I mean, it's the same document with barely any change in a period of time. I don't know why it would even be an issue to review a document that exists.
I don't disagree, Mr. Collins, but this wasn't even on the agenda for this evening's meeting.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Okay. So if I may, Mr. Collins, I think it is a very valid idea and something to consider. I think we have made strides this year towards we have at least discussed and held opinions on improving our board proceedings. And so I know this year we had a training session in which we developed norms and protocols for the board. I know there's been discussion of a bylaws committee, and I think this probably is a great opportunity for us to perhaps have something such as a work session in the future, another training event, something along those lines, off-site kind of thing, to finalize perhaps what our board conduct should be. And I think that would be a great time to discuss. I agree, Robert's rules, we have had plenty of time to review the document. It is also, to Ms. Hawk's point, a very large document. Not all of it pertains to our board. It is you are to use it right in accordance with the public body that you represent. So I would suggest we table it at this time and return to that at a future meeting, such as a work session.
Madam Chair, may I? The other piece is that we have in process a bylaws subcommittee that is doing a great deal of work. And I think that, I don't know that it would conflict, and it might support Robert's rules as a document. But I think we need to hear from the bylaws committee prior to adopting this.
So one more comment, Madam Chair.
Certainly.
So without that document to use as a guidance for meetings, it can go haywire at any time. So I don't know why it wouldn't be prudent. So you can have the authority of the chairman that's vested in the chairman instead of just not having the authority.
All right. Any further comments? Okay. So as I would offer one final comment to Mr. Collins, I agree. I understand where you're coming from. I think as the chair and also as board, we can all do our best in the interest until a point in time we find it appropriate to have a formal discussion as to which parts of Robert's rule or how we want to handle formally adopting that. I think we can all do our best to adhere to Robert's rules, which I'm sure at this point in time we should all be familiar with. If there's no further discussion, I'd like to call a vote. All those in favor of adopting Robert's rules at this point in time?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
This is a vote, Ms. Tolliver, to either vote for or against adopting at this time Robert's Rules of Order.
I vote against adopting it at this time, at this meeting.
Okay, chair votes nay, motion dies. Moving on to number 5. So at this point, we will elect election of the vice chairperson for the 2021 year. So I know I'm chair. I would like to nominate Ms. Hawk as vice chairperson. Is there Because can I make a motion for that, or do I have a motion to elect Ms. Hawk to vice chair?
Is there any other nominations?
Any other nominations for vice chair beyond Ms. Hawk?
I'd like to nominate TC Collins.
No.
What did Ms. Tolliver say?
No nomination from Ms. Tolliver.
Oh, none. Okay. All right. So at this point in time, let's have a vote. So all in favor of electing Ms. Hawk to vice chair?
All in favor of electing Ms. Hawk to vice chair?
Aye.
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 Okay. Motion carries. Ms. Hawk will be vice chair for 2021. Moving on to number 6, the appointment of the VSBA delegate and alternate. So I was the VSBA delegate this past year. Ms. Hawk was the alternate. I'm happy to do it again unless others are interested in the opportunity. Is anyone interested? Would like to nominate someone?
I nominate Ms. Gonzalez.
Okay. All right. Any other nominations? All
I
right.
didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
This is VSBA delegate. Ms. Gonzalez has been nominated to do that again this year as she did last.
Can you tell Mr. Vance that I got into this webinar?
Okay. Mr. Vance, she's gotten in.
As a guest, not as a panelist.
As a guest. Okay, hopefully he can switch your status over here shortly.
Okay.
So
Are we off?
any other nomination for VSBA delegate or alternate? I think Ms. Gonzalez has offered to do that again this year.
Do we need
Okay.
an
Oh.
alternate in this motion or a separate motion?
I don't know.
We've usually done them together.
Okay.
So if you identify the delegate and the alternate.
All right. I would like to nominate Ms. Hawk to be the delegate.
Actually, I'd like to nominate Mr. Collins to be the delegate, the alternate.
Okay.
Are you in person? Can I hang up the phone?
Thank you, but I'm not interested.
Are we
you can-
on?
Not consideration, thank you.
Or- Okay, so Mr. Collins is not interested. Is Ms. Tolliver talking? Can you hear me?
Sorry, it's feedback from her monitor. I think she's on the computer.
I'm hanging up.
Thanks.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay.
I hear myself. Okay. So Ms. Tolliver, did you have any additional nominations for a VSBA delegate or alternate?
So my understanding is you are nominated as the delegate and Ms. Hawk as the alternate?
That's correct. Mr. Collins was nominated but declined to be alternate.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
No further
all in-
nominations.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Ms. Tolliver?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on to number 7, appointment to the governor's school. Aren't those advisory committees? So this past year, Mr. Collins was our representative on the Commonwealth Governor's School Board, and Ms. Hawk was our representative on the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School Board. Are there others interested? No? Take silence as concurrence. So Mr. Collins, Ms. Hawk, are you interested in again representing the governor's schools?
I am.
Okay. So we'll move on. We don't need a motion for that one. Appointment of committee assignments. So we have a copy of the committee assignments from 2020. So I was the representative on the Technology Advisory Committee. Ms. Pansiera was our representative on the CTE Advisory Committee, and Ms. Hawk was the alternate. Ms. Hawk was our representative on the Gifted and Talented Advisory Committee. Ms. Tolliver was our representative on the SEAC Advisory Committee, as well as on the Health Advisory Committee. I was a representative on the Title I Advisory Committee, and Mr. Collins was the board representative on the Code of Conduct Advisory Committee. Are there any suggested changes to these, or is everyone content to remain on the advisory committees as presented?
I'm okay with my assignments.
Okay, thank you. Ms.
I'm
Ken,
okay with my assignments.
Mr. Collins? Okay. Ms. Tolliver, do you concur with your assignments? Do you have any additional comments?
No, I would like to keep my current assignments.
All right, thank you. So all appointments to committee assignments will stay unchanged for 2021 from last year. Moving on to number 9, we will now adopt the annual meeting calendar. So we have a copy in front of us of the proposed 2021 meeting schedule. Beginning with first regular meeting next Monday, January 11th. Yes, I know, Dr. Benson, there are a few dates on here that are highlighted. Do you want to comment on any of these?
I'd be happy to. The March 29th is simply to give a few days of preparation after the spring break week for that meeting. It also allows for 2 weeks between that and the first April meeting. The late April meeting, we are uncertain right now, but that's typically when I'm called for state meetings, and we've usually pushed that meeting into Wednesday of that week instead of Monday, since I'm typically in Roanoke for those state superintendent meetings. And then the October 25th, the same holds. We don't know for sure yet the schedule of the fall superintendent's meetings, but that's typically the time frame. So simply, those are 3 dates that would fall atypically, I guess, either to a Wednesday or a week later than normal. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt the annual meeting schedule for 2021?
Actually, do we have discussion at this point?
So I thought we could discuss after we make a motion, or we can.
Oh, yes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the King George County School Board 2021 meeting schedule as presented.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion?
Yes, we had been in the process of, or I guess our habit had been to meet weekly prior to Christmas, the holiday break, in order to facilitate the opening of school and continue the planning process. And I'm going to suggest that we maintain that weekly schedule until a date that is to be determined.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hawk. Any additional comments?
Yes, Madam Chair. I would suggest that this is for the annual schedule. This is the known dates that would be adopt this and then add the additional dates if that would be a separate motion.
I don't know that we want to add it to this meeting schedule for the whole year.
Right.
I tend to agree.
That sounds like good.
Okay.
I'll withdraw my.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll make a motion to adopt the annual schedule as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Ms. Tolliver, did you have any feedback? Ms. Tolliver?
No, I don't have any further feedback. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, we can hear you. All right, so we will now vote to adopt the King George County School Board 2021 meeting schedule. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Motion carries.
And now I'd like to make my motion.
Okay.
That we, for an undetermined period of time, meet week. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for letting me know. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt a weekly meeting schedule until a date to be determined when our plans are either finalized or there's some resolution to the opening of schools.
Second,
Okay, is there any discussion? Further discussion? Ms. Tolliver, do you have any feedback?
I have a question that, I agree with Ms. Hawks' motion, but I also think we should have some leeway in adding those meetings in as needed and not being locked into every week for an indeterminate amount of time. But that's my feedback.
Madam Chair. Madam Floor.
Okay, yeah, we just lost Dr. Benson. Yes, so is there any further discussion?
Yes,
No?
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Collins has.
Oh, I'm sorry. I heard I said no.
So
Mr. Collins?
if you keep that as the motion is, you can cancel a meeting, but to have a hard, fast meeting so people will know what the dates are, I would suggest that. And if you have you can cancel when necessary.
Yes, Mr. Collins, I would agree with that. I think we've found this past year that it's easier to cancel meetings than it is to schedule them. So I would tend to agree with having weekly meetings scheduled and on the calendar such that they are available and planned for us, and we can cancel them as need be. All right. If there's no further discussion,
That's fine.
that's fine.
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. So at this time, we will vote on weekly meetings as Ms. Hawk presented. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Motion carries. All right.
Making a motion, Madam Chairman, on the floor.
Can you repeat that?
I have the floor.
You may, Mr. Collins.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint of the clerk and deputy clerk, the clerk, Ms. Terry Rinko, and the deputy clerk, Ms. Cheryl Bushrod.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? Ms. Tolliver, any discussion? Ms. Tolliver?
No discussion. I guess you can't hear me. No discussion.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll have a vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. All right. Item number 11, appointment of agent and deputy agent.
Madam Chairman, may I have the floor?
You may, Mr. Collins.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Ms. Sherry Williams as agent and Dr. Robert Benson as deputy agent.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Ms. Tolliver, any discussion?
No discussion. No.
All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye.
Aye.
Motion, okay, chair votes aye. Motion carries. Moving on to number 12, authorization of superintendent's designee. I feel like we need the superintendent for this.
He stepped out.
Okay, both of them. All right, Ms. Tolliver. Sorry, Mr. Collins,
Down the floor.
you may.
I'd like to make a motion to accept Ms. Uzarski and Ms. Hill as the authorized superintendent's designees.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Tolliver, did you hear the motion or have discussion?
Yes, I heard the motion and no, I have no discussion. I'm sorry. I have to wait for John to unmute me every time I want to talk, so it's a little bit delayed. Sorry.
No, that's fine. wanted to make sure you were given an opportunity to speak. Okay, so we will take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Aye.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
What's that?
Are you good?
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
Two seconds.
Just asking for any discussion. Ms. Tolliver, any discussion?
No. No. No discussion.
No discussion. Okay, thank you. All right, so we will have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Chair votes aye.
Aye.
Motion- All right, we are adjourned.